Most parents of young soccer players are terrified of burnout and injury, but the broken youth soccer system only seems to make it worse. My name is H.M. Birkual, and as a sports physio, coach, and a parent, I've seen that the most resilient and joyful soccer players are built on a simple 3-part blueprint that has nothing to do with the scoreboard. So in this video, I'm going to give you that exact blueprint in the form of a pyramid and show you how to build your child's body, brain, and heart to cut through the chaos and finally enjoy the journey. If you want to start applying the blueprint for yourself, get the free checklist with 5 specific questions to ask a coach in the description below. Right? Building a resilient soccer player is like building a pyramid. A pyramid can only reach a great height if its base is wide and stable. If the foundation is narrow and weak, the whole structure will be fragile and will more likely crumble under pressure. We can help build that pyramid that can withstand the storms of the youth soccer arms race. Let's start with the foundation. Part 1, the body. As a sports physio, this is where my work begins. The foundation of all athletic performance is a body that is adaptable and durable. Availability is the greatest ability, as Bill Parcells and others have been known to say. The youth soccer arms race pushes us toward 2 big mistakes that create a narrow, fragile foundation: early specialization and the lack of or wrong kind of strength training. The science is clear. Specializing in one sport before puberty doesn't guarantee success. It guarantees a high risk of overuse, injuries, and burnout, and an actual lower chance of athletic success as an adult. To build a wide, stable foundation, we need a wide movement vocabulary. Think of the story of Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's one of the most creative and acrobatic goal scorers of all time. Where did that come from? It came from his background as a black belt in Taekwondo. And it's not just former great players it applies to. Current scorer at will, Erling Braut Haaland, played handball, did athletics and cross-country skiing until he was 14. That different language of movement gave both of them solutions on the soccer field that other players who only ever spoke soccer could ever dream of. They built a wider foundation for their pyramid. That second mistake is how we think about strength. There's an unfounded fear of strength training for kids that's debunked in the research a long time ago. And this fear leads to the myth that strength training will hurt their growth or make them bulky and slow. It's the same outdated thinking that tells us to do these old school static stretches before a game, which science shows can actually reduce power and performance. The real goal of strength training for young soccer players is similar to upgrading the brakes and the suspension on a race car. It's about teaching the body to absorb force and control it, while also having the benefit of producing and controlling more power. A resilient body is an adaptable body, not just a powerful one. Next, the brain. With a stable physical foundation, we can focus on the structure. A smarter, more creative soccer brain. This is where we apply the master chef versus recipe follower principle. So, a recipe follower is a player who has been programmed by repetitive, boring drills. They can execute a perfect move against a plastic cone, but they freeze in the chaos of a real game because the situation doesn't match the recipe. A master chef, on the other hand, is a player who has learned to solve problems. They understand the principles of the game. My entire coaching philosophy is based on a scientific framework called Ecological Dynamics, which is about creating these master chefs. There's a famous story about legendary Johan Cruyff. He was watching a youth practice at Ajax and he stopped the session, asked a young player, "Why are you running so much?" The player was confused. He thought effort was everything. But Cruyff explained, "You're running because you're out of position. If you're in the right place, you don't have to run as much." And that's the essence of a master chef brain. It's about intelligence, not just effort. Now, effort's certainly necessary, but on its own, it's not sufficient for later success. So, how do we build that intelligence? Well, we don't build it by being a puppet master coach who pulls every string and yells every instruction from the sideline. You build it by being a gardener. You, or the coach, design a rich learning environment, a practice mostly consisting of game-like problems, and then you take a step back. Allow the players to grow and find their own solutions. A resilient brain is one that can adapt and solve problems, not just follow instructions. Finally, the heart. This is the peak, the part that gives everything else meaning. It's about motivation, identity, and joy. And this is where our role as parents probably can have the most impact. The greatest danger in youth sports is the identity trap, when a child's entire self-worth is tied to their performance on the field. This is a player whose identity is only a soccer player. It's an incredibly unstable foundation. One bad season, one injury, and their entire sense of self can collapse. This is the child whose joy is gone because the pressure gets too high. MMA legend Ronda Rousey said this after her identity as the undefeated crumbled after she was knocked out. I am nothing. What am I anymore if I'm not this? No one gives a shit about me anymore without this. Now, that's a dark place to be in. Our job as parents is to be the builders of a four-legged stool. The stool is stable. This is a resilient identity. We build this by praising their process over their outcome. We celebrate their effort, their courage, and their character with the same energy we celebrate the goal. We show them that we value the student leg and the friend leg as much as the athlete leg. A resilient heart is one that knows its worth is not determined by the scoreboard. And that's it. A brief overview of the blueprint, a wide base of physical literacy, a solid structure of game intelligence, and a strong heart at the peak. That's a pyramid built to last and to reach new heights. It's simple, it's science-backed, and it works. If you want to start applying this blueprint today, I've created a free checklist based on the Gardener principles that will help you ask great questions to your kids' coach. The link is in the description below. And if you want to see how to apply the principles in greater detail, be sure to subscribe for more videos. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.